Hello, how are you? It has been such a long time. My husband is playing the Love Actually soundtrack on piano. Enjoy. I haven't made a book video in such a long time, and it's that time of year where publishers and people and events happen, and I end up getting lots of lovely books on my doorstep. So that's very cool, also kind of overwhelming. So this is going to be a very large book haul. Some of the books I've read, some of them I haven't. But I'll do my best to keep this as quick as possible and maybe give you some ideas if you're still Christmas shopping or just treating yourself. Let's start with some miscellaneous items that aren't actually books. Pan Macmillan have these adorable tiny notebooks. This is the Alice notebook, and it is just very beautiful. It's blank on the inside. Very nice pocket-sized notebook. I got that at the Book Break Christmas party recently. My friend Jean runs the Book Break channel for Pan Macmillan, which is really great, and you should know about it if you don't already. So I got a few books there. I'm not going to tell you about them in order, but this one also happened to come from there, published by Picador. This is Carol Ann Duffy's The King of Christmas, illustrated by Lara Hawthorne. Carol Ann Duffy is a poet, and I had to study her at GCSE level at school, I think, so I really like her poetry, and I think this is a very nice stocking filler. It has some sort of shiny gold writing. You can see it. It's very lovely, and the illustrations are very nice, beautiful colour palette, so that's cool. Also, Pan Macmillan, I've seen this getting a lot of attention lately because it is really funny and a really good gift. This is the Perpetual Disappointments diary. And this diary is not specific to one year because they're all basically the same. I do like a good week diary that doesn't have dates in it. So yeah, basically this is a very cynical planner. Planners are traditionally positive and upbeat and quotes to keep you going through the year. This one has demotivational proverbs, notable deaths, bank insecurity questions, people who never call you, notes towards a dull novel, apology notes, pointless doodles, and the quotes that it has on each week are just really funny. This one says, "Time is a great healer, but you don't have much of it left." So it's pessimistic. It's not for everyone. I don't consider myself the type of person who someone would think of when they see this, but I'm actually going to keep this and use it in the new year. But I can think of a few people who this would make a great gift for, so maybe I'll pick up a couple of others. But yeah, Perpetual Disappointment, good. Let's move on to some fiction. This is Miss Jane by Brad Watson. I picked this up at the Pan Macmillan party, so this is published by Picador, and I just grabbed it because it's beautiful and it has this little cut out kind of window on the cover. Gorgeous. I don't know anything about it. Do not know anything about it, but I do know that I love lead characters who are strong and interesting and called Jane, so I'm hoping that's what this is. It's full of praise from the New York Times and the Guardian and the Independent, and I'm sure it's wonderful. Speaking of pretty covers, I grabbed this also because it just looks like beautiful wallpaper. This is non-fiction, and this is O's Little Guide to Starting Over, published by Pan Macmillan, and it's by the editors of There's someone at my door. 'Tis the season for people to deliver things. So this is a collection of essays, mostly really short essays by lots of female writers, and it's about starting over. So it's broke into sections. Let me tell you about them. They have Letting Go, Lost and Found, A New Day, Matters of the Heart, Ends and Beginnings. So a lot of these women have been through really life-changing events, really serious illnesses, or some of them just kind of, just wanted to make some more subtle changes in their life. So yeah, it's nice, it's motivating, it's about a fresh start, so something that I think a lot of people would like to read in the new year. I think probably aimed at someone older than me, perhaps, but I did really enjoy what I read of this. I haven't finished it, I read about half of it on my train home. So nice little hardback edition, and if you know someone who likes Oprah, maybe this would be up their street. Let's jump on to a Anderson Press book. This is a proof copy, so this is not what the cover will look like, but it's Optimists Die First by Susan Nielsen, and it says A Love Story for Cynics. This comes out in March, so that's really far away. I do apologise, but this is about a teenage girl who's had tragedy, something bad happened to her family, and as a result of that she becomes very careful and very scared of the world around her, and very much is a worst case scenario person. So she's afraid of illness and she's afraid of disasters and all this kind of stuff. And then she meets a boy who kind of tries to make her see that there's a different side to life and you should be optimistic. It's a very sweet love story. It deals with mental health in teenagers. Not just the main character, but other characters around her are kind of overcoming various battles. So I thought it was really sweet. But this was really nice. I think it's going to do very well. So that's a young adult recommendation for you. Speaking of, let's talk about what I'm currently reading. This is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon, published by Penguin. And when do you come out? You're already out. You're here. Hello. Buy this now. So this is about Natasha and Daniel, and it's set in New York City. First person narrated, but they take it in turns, so they have a chapter each. But the most interesting thing about this is that in the in-between chapters, they'll kind of zoom out. I've only read like 40 pages of this, but quite early on Natasha almost gets hit by a car, and that's fine. But then you get this little page-long piece of writing which is about the driver of that car and what happened to him that day and why is he driving so recklessly. And it makes you realise that even though you're reading a story about two people, everybody has a story when you kind of zoom out, and they're all as interesting and complicated and sad and happy as each other. And so that's a kind of cool thing to do. I think that's a really interesting thing to do in a sort of young adult novel, to kind of shift the perspective like that and make you think about the world beyond, because both of these main characters are from immigrant families. So just keeping us all connected and showing you what we have in common it's a really interesting way of doing that. So I really like this so far, but like I said, I've only just started it, so I don't know too much about it. And Nicola Yoon wrote Everything, which was a bestseller, but I haven't read it, so let me know if you have, and maybe I'll read it afterwards. Cool. And I'm also currently reading another book. This is Simon & Schuster, and this is History Is All You Left Me, which isn't coming out until next year. Yeah, it's not coming out till February. So History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is a cool little book, again, in terms of kind of how the story is told. So it starts in the present. It starts in November 2016, and then it jumps back and forth to 2 years prior in 2014 and back to the present. And this is not a spoiler because it happens very early on, but it's about two, maybe not teenage, but two older teenage, kind of college age men, boys, guys, and they're in a relationship in 2014, and then in 2016 one of them has died and the other one is mourning and also looking back on their relationship, and I think trying to figure out what went wrong. And yeah, so I haven't read very much of this, so I don't really know what else to tell you, but I really like the style. I really like how the characters kind of feel and sound. It feels very real to me, and it has some praise from Patrick Ness and Nicola Yoon on the front cover. So yeah, it says, "You're still alive in alternate universes, Theo, but I live in the real world where this morning you're having an open casket funeral. I know you're out there listening, and you should know I'm really pissed because you swore you would never die, and yet here we are." This was sent to me a while ago, but I never got to talk about it. Published by Icon Books. This is Love Voltaire Us Apart. Great title for a book, really like that. It's by Julia Edelman. Gosh, I'm just not functioning today. Illustrated by Hallie Bateman. So it's a philosopher's guide to relationships. This is non-fiction, and it's kind of a parody, kind of comedy spoof of what famous philosophers would think of the modern day and Tinder and online dating and that kind of thing. So yeah, you have Aristotle, you have Karl Marx, all the names, there's Socrates. So I haven't had a chance to read this, but I do think it will be very funny. The illustrations, as you can tell from the cover, are just gorgeous and kind of silly. So again, this might be a cool gift for someone who likes puns. Who doesn't? Next up. So my brother was in San Francisco recently and he went to City Lights bookshop, and he decided to buy me a gift, which is very kind, and he got me the American cover edition, and this is just so gorgeous, of A Manual for Cleaning Women by Lucia Berlin. Short stories, and yeah, this cover is gorgeous. It's that kind of soft feeling, kind of matte material. It's very, very nice. So I like kind of putting this front facing on my bookshelf so that everyone can see how attractive it is. So that's another one I got recently. And yeah, back to Pan Mac. This is non-fiction by Pan Macmillan. This book is huge. This came wrapped and I wasn't supposed to open it till Christmas, but I'm a bad person. So this is Truevine by Beth Macy. Non-fiction history. It's set way back in 1899, and it's about two brothers being taken, and I think they go to the circus. That's what happens. It says two brothers, a kidnapping and a mother's quest, a true story of the American South. This is just one of those stories you would never otherwise hear about, I think, and yet someone has taken the time to write a book that's this big about it, and it has pictures, and I think it's going to be a very, very interesting story. Again, I would never have picked up this book had it not been gifted to me. So how interesting, how interesting. And the cover is just gorgeous. It's really evocative of American kind of circus history. It is to me anyway. Yeah, there's a weird one for you. You weren't expecting me to show you a book like that. Let's go back to Penguin. Penguin non-fiction. Penguin have jumped aboard the hype train, and this is a really interesting topic. I was reading a Guardian article about this the other day, and I'm going to show you the book and try to pronounce it and then kind of move on from there. So this is the little book of Hygge. I don't know, it's hard when your brain just says Hygge, say Hygge. Yeah, so if you haven't heard, this is a Danish lifestyle, way of living, a Danish way of life. I realise I researched how to say the name of the book. I did not research how to say the name of the author. I think it's Mike, and I don't know how to pronounce W, so it could be Viking, Wicking. I have no idea, I'm very sorry. But he works at the Happiness Research Institute in Copenhagen, and he has put together this little explanation to outsiders, to non-Danish people, about what hygge is, how you do it, where it began, and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, the article I was reading was kind of about how this concept has always existed in Denmark, but it's sort of become this year's colouring book craze. Now we're all obsessed with coziness and blankets and candles and creating that feeling of togetherness. Yeah, I'll link the article below. It's not cynical or anything, it just sort of says that the British have taken this and put a price tag on it and used it, you know, published loads of books about it because we all want to know the secret to happiness. So yeah, it's interesting. It's not a new thing, it's just new that it's in bookshops everywhere, and the books are gorgeous. Like, every book on this topic is just so pretty because it sort of has to be to chime in with what hygge is. It's just nice, it's comforting. Finally, can I just say thank you to the person who gave this book to my husband to give to me, which he did. I believe it was when he was playing in the Netherlands lately. So this is The Testament of Mary by Colm Tóibín. Quite a short little book from him. I haven't read it, which is good. And I don't know anything about it. I'm assuming it's set in Ireland because it's Colm Tóibín. If you don't know him, I mentioned Nora Webster, which is that book, which I have read, and then I love the film Brooklyn, which is based on a novel by Colm Tóibín. So he's a cool guy, Irish authors. Yeah. I hope that was interesting. I will link every single one of these in the description. The Penguin books that I mentioned, any of them that I said were published by Penguin, I chose those using the Penguin Flipper. This is not sponsored, I just think it's really cool. It's a website, and Penguin Flipper is where you put in who you're trying to buy a book for and what they're into, and then it recommends you books. So it's really cool if you're buying for a teenager who likes comedy, or if you're buying for blah blah blah. Whoever, lots of combinations. So if you're really, really stuck with trying to buy books for people as Christmas gifts, then check that out. Otherwise, all the books will be linked in the description, with my book depository affiliate links. I hope you're really well. It is daylight right now, but it's so grey outside that I had to put loads of lights on and I look a bit sleepy. But it's okay. Feeling good, looking forward to Christmas. I hope you're very well. And yeah, happy reading. Let me know if you've read any of these or anything by these authors or anything that reminds you of... I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.